everybody. Good morning, everybody. My name is Candace New, and I am your host. This is The New Agenda. I would like to begin by welcoming some new audiences to our viewership today. I'm very excited to welcome Manhattan and the Bronx. We're so excited to be broadcast in your neighborhoods, and thank you so much for joining us. If you are new to The New Agenda, what you can expect every single week on this show, we are going to interview some incredible artists, filmmakers, or entrepreneurs, asking them about their journey, figuring out how it is that they got there and where they're headed next. You're going to get some tips and tricks on how you can pursue your own dreams. And every single week, our goal is to teach you to not just dream big dreams, but to live them, to overcome all of the obstacles and to achieve those really big goals and dreams that you have. So thank you so much for joining me today. I have some incredible humans on my show today, some of them that I just met and some that I've known for a little bit. I'm excited for you to meet all of them, so stay tuned. You don't want to miss a single moment of today. Speaking of pursuing your dreams and living the dream, really, I've got one human here who has been pursuing her dreams for quite some time, and it has turned out to be a pretty cool adventure. So without further ado, let me bring on Miss Stephanie Umo. Hello, darling. I'm so excited to have you on my show today. Absolutely. You can sit right there. You can move those pillows under the couch or whatever else you might want to do with them.
Hold on to it.
Okay, that's, sometimes that's exactly what we need,
Yeah, like a little baby or something.
I don't feel like you're nervous at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So hi, Candace.
Hi. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You are glowing. Although you said you were a little tired. We're not going to talk about that yet, but you don't look it.
Well, I appreciate that. Makeup.
I haven't figured out the foundation thing yet.
Okay,
I don't know how to contour. I tried, and I have some really tragic pictures actually where I was going in for a modeling shoot at Men's District. Yeah, Men's District, we love you. Woo! And I tried to do some contouring on my own. I just had these weird and I was looking at the pictures and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's all about the blending. It's all about the blending.
I think it's about a lot more than just that because I couldn't figure out how to blend it to make it look good either. So maybe we can have a powwow later and you can help me out. Oh my gosh. Anyway, we are not here to talk about my makeup faux pas. This is all about you today.
Okay.
So, or at least partly about you today.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see where it goes.
I would love to know a little bit about your journey as an artist. Okay. I know a little bit about that.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear about how you got started and some of the things that you've been up to along the way.
Sure. Okay. How far back would you like to go?
Well, I definitely think
old.
After the birthing adventure. That's something we don't cover on this show. That's a different show.
Okay, we can skip the actual birth thing.
I'd love to hear about, some of your early memories on the stage, and then, maybe one, and I was okay. We don't want to be here all day.
Right. Well,
but,
okay. You know what? My first memory of being on stage was elementary school. For Christmas, we did a Good King Wincelot kind of play.
Okay.
And I remember I had to play the flute because I was playing the flute. And so Lizzo was not the first to do it. Okay. I did play the flute, and I have pictures, but not on me. So I'll save you. But,
okay.
So that's my first memory of being on stage. And I don't remember it too much, but I just remember kind of enjoying it.
I actually feel like the Christmas play is kind of the first of everybody's stage memories.
I think
mine is the first, definitely. Mine was, I don't know what grade I was in, probably maybe first or second grade, and I was definitely a present. Yeah. And I mean that.
You were a dancing gift.
I think I mostly stood there, and then I think I had to scamper off stage and not fall down. I think the big goal was don't fall. Yeah.
Yep. And remember your words.
I probably fell, because that would be classic Candace right there. But yeah. All right. And where did it go from there?
Well, so actually, to be really honest with you, I remember always enjoying telling stories. So I remember when we got to 5th grade, and we would sit around a circle, and we'd have to read passages from a book, everybody in the class. And I would keep going beyond my passage, because I just enjoyed it so much, and I loved just making my voice different, and I don't know why. I have no idea why. I didn't know why in the moment, but I've always enjoyed the aspect of storytelling and having an audience. So So from then, I just, I wasn't really taking it seriously until high school, where actually my trajectory was to go study medicine.
Okay.
And I, was taking all the science classes for that and to get into Baylor in Texas. And I was doing theater on the side. And it was totally just for extracurricular activity.
Sure.
Just,
Something,
I loved
yeah,
the
a
social
hobby.
aspect of it. And I loved the community. But then I started to becoming more and more involved in the musicals and started to get leads in the musicals. And I remember, this is why teachers are important. One of my teachers pulled me aside once, and she, with tears in her eyes, was like, "You have to pursue this." And that was sort of, I think, one of the first times in my life that someone I respected, that wasn't a family member,
Right.
had told me I was good at something, and that, with such passion, So I was like, okay, I'll do it. So I just immediately started to research schools. I mean, by then it was late junior year, so it was kind of late. And so I was scrambling to see what schools I could, would accept me, or accept my application by my senior year, because they
Right.
weren't accepting applications. So I got into the Boston Conservatory, which is in Boston, and it's a 4-year bachelor program, but it's a conservatory of the arts.
Right.
So I just focused on theater, and it was truly like, I was so behind a lot of these students who had been, learning music and
Since they were
and
like
since
this
they were
tall.
in dancing since they were 5, and I was just, that wasn't me. So, but I knew I had to do this, and I knew I was gonna have to work harder than everyone else,
Yeah.
which was okay. And I also, the economic situation I came from, I didn't come from a lot of money, so
Yeah.
we didn't have money for extra lessons and voice lessons and all that stuff. My mom did what she could, but
Right.
so I was behind, and it took a lot of catching up, but I got there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got there, yeah, a lot of work. And so anyway, professionally, I started working outside in the Boston community professionally.
Okay.
Because I wasn't getting cast in my school plays. And
That's
I
interesting.
know,
Okay.
I don't know, but I was like, I'm not going to spend 4 years here and not perform.
Yeah.
Because to me, that is the biggest education. And so then I started to audition for the shows out in the community and was getting them. And I was working with professional actors, which took my education to another level.
Yeah.
Because I was actively learning in school and then also applying whatever I was learning, techniques I was learning, I could apply it that night in the show.
Yeah.
Or also learning from these incredible actors. I mean, Boston has an amazing community. And I was able to learn from them and watch them. And it was like just a masterclass every night. So I feel very grateful for choosing Boston, even though it was a very expensive school and I'm still paying for it. But I'm very grateful for that experience as a whole, and the proximity to New York City as well. Some of us would get our little coins together and hop on the train or the bus, $20 bus, and go see student matinees of Broadway shows. Not student matinees, but student ticket,
Right.
$20 tickets.
I know. I just want to enroll in one of those schools so I could get tickets like that. I feel
I know, I miss being that young sometimes, but because
understand.
you could see shows for $20 or sometimes $10. But
Now, I actually teach at a local community college. I have a student ID. Can I get
I hung on to my student ID for a long time, actually an embarrassing
Wondering.
amount of time after. It might still work, you never
right?
know.
I don't know.
You never know.
But is it any school? I thought it was just
It's any school.
oh,
It's any school.
oh, that is okay.
Changes things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I can take classes. That's fine.
Technically, you
I
can
could take
be
a
enrolled in
workout
something.
class. I take a
Exactly.
workout class every semester. That's why I have student ID, actually, because I do take a workout class every semester that I teach.
Okay.
So I'm always like, yeah, that's how
Yeah.
because I'm still one of those people who's obsessed with my grades. And so I cannot work out for the life of me.
Yeah.
On my own, But if there's a grade attached to it, even though I'm not pursuing another degree and I'm not, it's
You're
just
competitive.
I have to
Yeah.
get an A. It's like, oh God, I will
Yeah.
go to class and I will do push-ups, or I did circuit training once, which I thought was going to be, I don't know, like yoga. It was not,
Oh, no.
friends. It was like I was going to die.
Traumatic.
It was traumatic.
traumatic.
Oh my God, it was so traumatic. It was terrible. I was really glad the pandemic hit during that semester. I was like, thank you.
Yeah, everyone's stopping, so.
I was like, oh good. I was starting to
You
get
weren't doing
abs
burpees
then.
at home?
No, although they did say I was supposed to.
Yeah.
but they hadn't figured out how to track that yet. So
Okay,
they were just like,
okay.
we're giving you an A. And I was like, oh, good. It's like, I haven't figured out how to do burpees at home yet either. What are those?
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so that's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then, so, did the thing in Boston, graduated. We did what's called a showcase, which you basically just audition for agents
Yeah.
to get agent representation. And I found an amazing agent who I'm still with today, who's like family.
Yeah.
And, right out of school, about a year later, got my first Broadway show. And that was surreal because I was, I think, a little too young. I didn't quite understand what was going on, and it was a big role. So there was a lot of fear attached, but also I kind of look back on those days, and I miss not knowing, because there was something that I was very in the moment, and I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
So I think that the art I gave was just what it was. It wasn't, I didn't have any experience under me, enough experience to know that it comes with a lot of other responsibilities and
Yeah.
pressures and stuff. I just did
What
it.
kind of pressures? What do you mean by that?
Well, for an example, that particular role had been done. This was a revival. It was a show called Ragtime,
Oh yeah.
and the role was Sarah.
Yeah.
So the original,
Just a little show.
just a little show,
Just a little role.
and so the person who originated that role was Audra McDonald, and somebody I just greatly admire, and at that time I was just like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of pressure. It's like singing a Whitney Houston song,
Yeah.
Whitney did it. Whitney
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
So good luck coming after her. So that's how I felt about Audra. But then I just kind of realized, you know what? I have a rare opportunity here to make this mine. And, I just didn't kind of listen. I tried to not listen to the voices inside my head
Yeah.
that were the demons that tell you can't. I remember even actually there was one time I was having a hard time dealing with it emotionally. I just was overwhelmed, and my director called me because she could tell. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do it. I think I'm too scared, to be honest with you. And she was like,
Yeah.
you listen to me. I picked you for a reason.
Yep.
You can do this. Anyway, had that pep talk. And then from then on, I was like, I got this. And I, did it.
Yeah.
But it was, so there's a lot of pressure also because, it's also your introduction to New York, to the New York theater scene. And it can be a very tough scene and very judgy sometimes. Everything has to be at a certain standard. The audiences are picky, and I know that. And so there was this fear. There was a lot of fear in me about, will I be accepted into this community? And that can really affect your performance. It shouldn't,
Right.
but it's hard to separate the worlds. So so did that professionally, and then just been in New York ever since. Broadway, off Broadway, commercials, TV. It's been a lovely full career. I'm happy.
That's awesome. All right, so you've done a ton of things. I know that you mentioned also doing some film and TV. This is kind of becoming like a little film and TV hub.
Yes.
So can you tell me a little bit about your work in film and TV?
Yeah, sure. So one of the shows, my debut on TV was a show called The New York 22, which was this New York cop show.
Okay.
Not. I don't want to say it wasn't very good, but sorry, but it was okay.
Yeah.
But I played a college stoner.
Okay.
And I just remember, it was my first time on a set in that way, and I just remember, just like, I've got to pretend like I know what I'm doing, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what the language is.
It was your first time, like you hadn't been background, you hadn't done stand-in, nothing.
Nothing.
Oh God, okay,
And
yeah.
so, and also, the call sheet.
Yeah.
I'm
You're
used to a
like,
different kind of call sheet.
Yeah.
This call sheet there was a lot going on. And
Yeah.
I was just like, somebody please help me. I was like, I remember Googling some of the language so I didn't show up on set looking stupid, But I just remember soaking it all in like a sponge. Just, remember this, remember how this goes. Because sometimes TV gigs are few and far in between.
Right.
You could do one and then you don't have one for another several years, which
Right.
was that case for me. So then went on and did House of Cards, did 2 or 3 episodes of that,
Yeah.
which was a completely different vibe. It was shot in Baltimore, so I had to get on the train from New York to Baltimore, and that was a high budget production, so it was just, but they'd been there for 6 seasons already,
Yeah.
so it was they were a family, and I loved that. I loved that everybody knew from the guy picking me up from my lodging to bring me to set, to the boom guy, everybody was just such a family, and to security, they all knew each other, and it was lovely and very relaxed. So there wasn't a lot to be nervous about, but. Except that the type of language that's on House of Cards is political language that I'm not too familiar with. So I remember drilling my lines because it's so fast too.
Right.
The style is kind of quick and political, so that's scary. And
Yeah.
when the camera's on you. And I remember the camera being like this close. And
Oh
I was
my
just,
gosh, yeah.
sweating. You know what I mean? They had to keep dabbing my glow, as you say. But yeah, so that's... and then after that, I did an episode of Blue Bloods over the pandemic, which was cool because that was my first scene where I was like in an actual scene, which was just me and the main actors.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. It was very also relaxed. It was kind of a family. Blue Bloods has been there for what, like 12, 15,
A long time,
15 years. So they were also a family and a well-run oiled machine. And yeah, that was like a different kind of work. That was a very dramatic scene, which was so fun to do. And yeah, so anyway, that I've been tied up ever since. So I haven't been able to like explore really the TV film world. But I'm for hire.
No, she's busy, actually. She's taken.
I'm taken, yes.
She's taken, currently spoken for. So I know that you actually dragged a friend along today.
I did drag a friend along.
I love it when we bring people into the audience, especially me, because I love to bring people from the audience on my show. Conveniently, I think we're going to invite... Can I? Do you mind?
You go ahead.
Do you mind?
No, I don't mind.
I don't care if he minds. I am very excited to introduce and to bring onto my show today a Mr. Edred Utomi. I'm so excited to have you here today.
Thanks for having me.
Have a seat.
How you doing? It's been so long since I've seen you.
so long.
Like 12 minutes. Oh my gosh.
Want a pillow?
I do. I got one. Yeah, look, now we're matching.
I know.
Man, you guys can put the pillows off to the
It's my security
Kind
blanket.
of, yeah, me too.
I feel
That's
more
where I
comfortable
keep
with
all my anxiety.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my. Well, I am so excited to have you both on my show. Edred, can you tell me a little bit about your journey as an artist? Because you're an artist too,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, that hat, I don't know why, but that hat says it's an artist hat.
Yeah, it's my Uzi. It's my
Yeah,
Uzi
there we
cap.
go.
My journey. So I grew up in Las Vegas.
Okay.
Grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Nevada, yeah, not New Mexico.
Yes, not
Sorry.
New Mexico.
Sorry,
Is
New
there a
Mexico
Las Vegas,
people.
New Mexico?
There is. It's like a real small town.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's
learn
not,
every day.
you could go
You
there.
learn something new every day.
Ah.
Where is it? There it is.
I didn't mean funny.
So I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I didn't do really any theater when I was a kid. Kind of same thing. I grew up not with the funds to, explore. My parents are Nigerian, and there's only really two professions that exist for Nigerian parents. It's lawyer or doctor.
Got it,
So if
got
you don't
it.
want to be one of those, then you have to be one of those. So
If you don't want to be one of those, then you have to be one of those.
Then you have to be one of
Then
those.
you
Doesn't
have to be
matter.
one and just hate your life.
Exactly.
Good times.
Not
Not that people who work in medicine hate their
I mean,
lives.
they're
Right,
great.
right,
My
right.
sister's a lawyer. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
She followed the parents. Yeah.
She did. She did. She did. She's also good at arguing. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't do that. My earliest memory though was not a Christmas thing. It's very deep. It's like 4 years old. It's very deep and back there. I was in a production. I was in a very small thing of the Three Little Pigs.
Okay.
I don't remember what pig I was, but I remember I was a pig, and we had these like metal chairs, and we hid behind them for the houses, and then somebody came and was like, and I was like,
They just blew on
no,
you.
and I like ran to the other house, and we like three little pigs like hiding behind a very small chair. So that was my earliest memory.
How old were you?
I was literally like 4. Like I really don't remember.
That
it.
is adorable.
Yeah,
That's
it was,
hilarious.
I don't know. Yeah, I clearly had a bad performance because my mom didn't keep me going in it. Terrible pig.
She's like, yeah,
terrible
stop
I was
was
the
fun
awful
for you.
fixed pig. It was terrible. But then, yeah, I didn't really start kind of similar till pretty late. I started freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
I have a brother who's 3 years older than me. I have multiple siblings, but my brother who's 3 years older than me was a
You
senior.
don't even count them. You just say multiple. You're like, there's so many of them.
I mean, I'm the youngest of 5. 5. So
Okay,
there's a ton of them. And they have big personalities, so it feels like more. But
Split personalities, maybe,
Exactly.
multiple
We're all
personalities.
actors in some respect. And he was a senior, and I asked him what the easiest class to take, because I got an elective. And he was like, take theater. It's an easy A. I was like,
An
great.
easy A, okay.
An easy A. So this story turns, I promise. So I took it, and for 2 years it was an easy A. And then my junior year, we got a new teacher. Her name is Miss Carter. She's married now. And she, like, changed my life. She was, like, the teacher. You know, we all have that one.
Yeah.
And I'm, like, getting, like, shaken up talking about
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
I got
she
shaken up when
changed
she
your
was
life.
talking
Yeah,
about
she
her
really
experience. I
changed
was
my
like,
life. Yeah, I was doing track at the time, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to do track or theater, and she really was like, you should do this thing. And I was like, okay. So I went to the University of San Diego, and I majored in it, that and communications. I started working professionally in San Diego in 2013. And
what was the first thing that you did professionally?
the first thing after college was a production of Midsummer Night's Dream. It was a musical version with 60s music.
Okay.
It was fire. I loved it. And it was like, I played Lysander, and it was like, the scene where, there's a scene, I don't know if you know Shakespeare super well. There's a scene
I was a
where,
high school theater
like, we're
teacher
fighting
once.
over, you were what?
I was a high school theater teacher
Well,
once.
so you know Shakespeare very well.
I was the teacher that had those conversations with kids.
Oh, you changed
Yeah.
lives. Well, we thank you so
Yeah,
much.
we do. Thank you.
I will say probably.
Yes,
Maybe.
you definitely did. You definitely did. And so the scene where they're like chasing after Helena because they're all like bewitched, right?
Right.
So normally it's like talking. In this show, like there was moments where there were songs, and so at that moment it was like "Ain't Too Proud to Beg," and so me and Demetrius were like on our knee, like I know you wanna leave, like pining for her. It was an amazing show. There was like ropes. It was super physical. We would like swing on ropes when I sing like this magic moment. It was cool. It was a very cool show. I worked with a lot of amazing actors that, like, one of my friends, Nathan, he's on the Lion King tour now. Like, tons of amazing actors who, that's kind of was also my education. There was not a musical theater real program at University of San Diego. So I learned, like, the basic and fundamentals of acting, but in terms of, like, musical theater, my education really came after college, and that was kind of the beginning of it. And I worked with some crazy talented people, and I was nervous every single night. But it was great. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, y'all two are obviously, here in my town for a reason, and you seem to know each other, I think.
Yeah, a little bit.
Can you tell me what you're here for?
Just for fun.
Oh, got it. It was for
the desert.
food, for the
Yeah.
desert,
For the
I
I
heard you went
missed
ballooning.
We went ballooning.
You went ballooning?
Yesterday morning.
Ah, fun. Nice. I haven't done that yet.
It's very.
It's not the balloon fiesta yet, so you're lying.
No, we're here for. Should we like finish each other's sentences? Or something?
Sure.
God.
We're here
Here
for
for
the
it.
musical
Called
Hamilton. Gross. I didn't like that
Okay.
at all.
So,
redo.
I feel like since it's my show, I get to announce
Right,
that
right.
I have not just, they're not here to see it. In case you guys obviously you know this. I have with me today Hamilton and Angelica of the Angelica cast, right?
Yep, the Angelica cast.
For the national tour of Hamilton, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here today. Yeah. I've been just simmering for the last several weeks. I haven't gotten a chance to see it in person. I watched the filmed version, of course,
Sure.
with the original cast, and it was a beautifully done piece, which we're so excited to have here in town. I didn't know there were student tickets. We'll be looking into that later today. They're like, Candace, we know you better than I am taking classes.
Yep.
I am taking a workout class.
Counts.
It started yesterday. No, Monday. Today is already
Monday.
Thursday. Yeah, there you go. So anyway, that being said, so tell me about all of that. I mean, I want to hear about, first of all, the process for auditioning and callbacks. I would love to hear about, actually, can I ask you guys to sing for me? I know you love that, I know.
So the thing about singing,
Yeah. So Candace, yeah,
you gotta warm it up.
to be really honest with
Yeah.
You gotta
you,
warm up.
Do you get
gotta-
requests like that a lot?
we do.
all the time?
All the
Yeah.
time.
We travel normally as a group, right? So
Yeah.
if we get on a plane and somebody sees a tag that says Hamilton, they're like, oh my gosh, will
Will
you
you
perform
sing?
for us? Will you do the opening number? And we're like, it's our day off.
It's your day off.
Like, I love you guys. I
love that,
appreciate you
yeah.
loving it, but
Exactly.
like, we gotta
Yeah.
rest too,
And,
you know? We're
and
humans.
you know, we also get paid to sing.
Oh, this is your job.
This is
This
our
isn't
job.
like a hobby.
livelihood.
It's
That's
like
not
you
a
see
hobby.
LeBron James
Oh,
outside.
right.
You're like, hey, shoot some hoops for us.
Yes.
He's like, man, I'm
He's
chilling.
like, I'm
right?
not doing
not
that.
doing that right
Yeah,
now.
would you know, and
We're
would you
still-
ask an attorney to represent
Right.
you for free? Would you
No.
do, you know, a
Wouldn't do such
doctor to
things.
see you for free? You know, it's just,
You know, I actually knew that. So somebody's got to sing.
yeah.
Right,
So
right.
is it okay if my cast performs for you?
Yes.
We would love
I
that.
have a cast today.
I would love that.
Awesome. Let's go ahead and bring on the cast of Broadway Bound Live. They're performing a musical theater number from a new musical called You're a Catch, Why Are You Single? The number they'll be performing today is called Tricky, and it's by Sarah Winan. Wow, I'm so sorry, Sarah. It's by Sarah Winan. So let's go ahead and cut to that, and then we'll come right back.
Yay.
Christmas is the day I dread. It makes me wish that I was dead. I don't mind gifts or beers or ants. It's just the questions that they ask.
Becky, girl, do you have a boyfriend yet? I have a cute bridesmaid dress. When are you gonna make me the cool aunt? Come on.
But you're a catch.
Why are you single?
Christmas is the day I dread. I'd spend the day in bed instead. At least I know when it's all done. I've got another year to find someone. My mom says I'm a catch, so why am I single? Not a single match, past a Pringle. Tinder's overrated, so that's why I'm single. I'm single, single even though I'm a catch.
Swipe, 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 swipe.
He's a fuckboy, he's a pervert, he's got cars and all his Tinder pictures. Should he pay?
I pay? Should I hug
Or kiss
or stay the night?
I can't believe he used that
Do
line.
you think that this is a sign? I think I like him.
No, you don't.
I do believe him.
Who's skinny tricky? It's also tricky when you're trying to find someone. Tricky.
What a confusing time to be alive.
Tricky, it's also tricky, and I wish I could find someone. We're dating in the 21st century.
This is fun.
Swipe, 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 swipe.
He's a show-off.
She's a psycho. She's got filters over every photo. Ooh, I want to see her dog.
I really don't like dogs.
Is this too much or that too little?
Why am I so
I
non-committal?
think I like her.
You do not.
I do believe me. She is hot.
Swipe, swipe, swipe. My mom says I'm a catch, so why am I lonely? A week in just one match and just one only.
Tinder's overrated.
So why don't we mingle?
We're single.
Single even though I'm a catch.
If you're single, then there must be a catch. Go ahead and tell us the catch.
Well, there's no catch. Except for me. I'm a catch, but not the catch. There's no catch. I'm just a perfectly normal, well-adjusted 34-year-old woman who is digging herself into a pretty big hole. Not your hole. My hole. Not that hole. Hi, I'm Becky.
Tricky, it's also tricky when you're trying to find someone. Tricky, what a confusing time to be alive. Tricky, it's also
I
tricky.
don't really like what I see.
We're dating in the 21st century.
phenomenal job, guys. So this is the cast of Broadway Bound Live. They're actually in their finale round right now. Broadway Bound Live is a televised musical theater competition show. It's for low-income young individuals between the ages of 18 and 28. We had over 300 people across the nation audition for the show, and ended up with a cast of 14 at the beginning, and they've gone through 7 rounds of elimination. They are in their 8th and final round. We're down to a cast of 8, and those are the 8 people that you just saw on stage. They are competing for 4 scholarships to AMDA College of the Performing Arts in New York City, and they range between $60,000 and $40,000 renewable scholarships. So they can go for 4 years, get their bachelor's degree, go to the conservatory program, and go on from there. So some of these kids have never had a private voice lesson before in their lives. So they've received 16 weeks of private voice, group dance, group acting lessons leading up to this. And now they are doing some things that you guys get to do too, which is putting on new works. And so this production of You're a Catch, Why Are You Single will make its U.S. debut actually on Saturday, May 20th and May 21st. At the National Hispanic Cultural Center. We invite you guys out there to come out and watch. Go to catharsismedia.org/events for tickets, and come out and join us and watch this incredible show. And the audience actually gets to vote. So we'll be bringing in Vasti.
Mumpoint?
Yes.
Yeah, I know her.
She's coming in. She flies in on
That's
Friday
so
night. She's one of
funny.
the adjudicators.
Yes.
So come hang out with us. I know you guys will be busy, but we'll have brunch and other things. But she'll be doing a master class on Saturday morning, and then she is one of the adjudicators. And Rainey, who's the admin. Wow. Can't. Yep.
We're getting
She works in admissions. Director of admissions, sorry, in LA. So she's coming out as well. And then we'll have Deidre Michelle, who's a SAG talent agent adjudicating, Renato Burdick, who is an opera singer, world renowned actually. And I directed the show, so I guess I get to vote this round too. So I'm really excited. So it'll be kind of a life-changing adventure. You guys were talking about how you didn't really have the economic background for training. You guys, it's so funny because you guys are like, oh, we started so late, like in high school, and then but these kids are starting. Some of them are actually even older than that, out of high school, and they're just getting started.
It's okay. You can start anytime.
Truly, anytime. There was that woman in Black Panther.
Yeah.
Who was like 70.
Yeah.
It was like her first film. I was like,
That's amazing.
go off.
Right?
That's incredible.
The beauty about it is that you're playing characters of all ages. I mean, so you could start at the age of 70 and be perfectly fine. There's
And
no.
sometimes that life experience helps more.
I agree.
You're more
agree.
grounded because you've been through so much. You can identify, stuff in characters because you've lived it. So
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, never too late.
You're right. It's never too late.
So we were talking about Hamilton and about you guys getting there. I love the brief conversation that we got to have about just the need to pay artists, which obviously this is your livelihood, this is your job. And it's so interesting because often, artists are asked to perform without pay. I know my cast is like, we're not getting paid for this morning. I'm like, you guys are promoting your show. But the need, to recognize that this is a career path. It's not just a thing we do for funsies. Yeah. And so much of what the rest of the world does in their spare time and in their in-between moments, even at work, is literally produced by, those artists.
That's right. That's right.
So what do you guys want to say about that?
Well, I just, it's really fascinating. I've done stuff for free in New York. I've done stuff for $100. I've done stuff for thousands of dollars. So, a lot of the business side of things, it's complicated, but, it could be better, especially with the cost of living in New York being as high as it is. Even Broadway salaries are hardly cutting it.
Right.
And, the industry needs to reflect what is going on economically, in my opinion.
Yeah.
People aren't asking for, it's just truly, we should be able to, as artists, also make down payments on a house. simple dreams like that.
Oh, even like the being a 1099 employee where you're literally an independent contractor.
Yeah.
I mean, health insurance. I know that you can
Oh
get
my
it through
gosh.
the unions,
Health insurance
depending
through the
on some
union.
things.
But union work is also limited, and
that,
but you don't have to be in the union to be an actor. Just in any
Right.
union, just so anybody knows, because there's a lot of
Yep.
really cool things going on non-union. The benefits of being union are that health insurance, 401k. You know,
Right.
there are benefits and protections also.
Right.
But and also, they have to pay you. Producers have to pay you a certain
Right.
amount, so you're just protected. But it's really complicated because, and right now we're at this sort of moment in time professionally with unions and with producers that we're just trying to find a happy place. And I think that is coming off of pandemic.
Right.
What was fascinating to see about the pandemic is how everybody was watching Netflix, everybody was watching HBO, and a lot of these actors were like, well, who's making the money?
Yeah.
Oh, the network.
Yeah.
We're actually not seeing a lot of that, and so there's just a change happening right now.
Yeah.
That there's just, I think within the whole nation right now there's an imbalance.
Yeah.
Where the rich are really, really rich,
Yeah.
and the middle class is sort of kind of disappearing.
Right.
And it's, anyway, I'm
Well, and I
sorry,
think
I
that during
digressed.
the well, and I think that during the pandemic, we really had the opportunity to kind of like reflect too and say like, well, even things that are just, like, I mean, we've had conversations lately about like hours, like, is a 17-hour workday or 18-hour workday really like okay?
Exactly.
Like,
Is it healthy?
if they're like, let's go for 12
Sustainable.
hours, I'm like, that still
Right.
sucks, but okay,
Right. I mean, we do 5-show weekends, and
Nice.
while touring, and I mean, this is not me putting down
No.
any structure, or anything that's set in place. I don't want that to be about that, but
it's important to acknowledge that it's a lot.
It's a
And it's a
lot.
lot physically on our bodies.
It is so hard to recover. So let's say we do a Friday night show, 8 o'clock, get out at 11. The next day you do a show at 2 o'clock, and then also 8 o'clock, and you get out at 11.
Right.
Then the day after that on Sundays we have 1 o'clock
It's the 1
matinees.
o'clock. That's the
Yeah.
killer.
So
Yeah.
you get out at 11. Let's say it takes you at least on average 2.5, sometimes 3 hours to fall asleep.
Right.
Or-
You're going 2 a.m., 3 a.m., waking up for enough to warm your body up and your voice to stay healthy. It's hard. I mean, it's scientifically, even biologically,
Right.
you can't
Yeah.
force your voice, especially as a
Right.
delicate little gland.
Right.
You cannot force it to do what you want it to do. You just can't.
Right.
So
So what are your self-care routines like? How do you recover?
Honestly, it's for me, it's just resting.
yep,
I
rest.
say so many words in the show, and we sing so high and do so much in the show that it's really outside the show. It's a lot of rest. It's a lot of mental rest. It's a lot of physical rest. It's a lot of vocal rest. It's a lot of hot tea
Love hot
Yes.
tea.
with lemon and honey, ginger,
Lot of water.
garlic if it's really bad.
Steaming.
Any steaming, vocal nebulizers, saline solutions. I have bad sinuses.
Welcome to New Mexico. Are you happy about it?
Well, so a lot of sinus rinses to get all the mucus and stuff out. So there's all sorts of that. But really, yeah, for me, I found that it's the discipline of rest. When I first got on tour, I think I was like, I want to do so much and in my free time. By
That
the
goes
time
away quickly.
Yeah. By the time you get to the show, you're exhausted. And then you have to do a 3-hour show. And so for me, people are like, what do you do during the day? I'm like, nothing. I watch Netflix, I play video games, I rest, I work out, try to keep the body
Yeah,
strong.
that's important too.
Very important. Pretty much everyone you talk to in the cast works out because
You have to.
It's the cross training of keeping your body strong to do the show.
Yeah.
And yes, it will tire you out for the show to some extent, but it also helps you be able to do it longer.
So you're telling me I have to work out. That's what you're telling me.
Just
That's
not-
what I
just
gleaned
a
not
little.
from this
for
Nothing
report.
not
crazy.
for
Nothing
not
crazy.
for visually.
Right,
It's
right.
literally for
Right.
to
It's
sustain
like-
your.
I mean, we've been in the
For
show
strength.
since 2018,
Yeah.
and thankfully we haven't had anything that takes us out, for a very long time because we try to. It's a job,
Right.
I mean, I'm not super into sports, but I hear about LeBron James a lot because one of my friends is really into him, and he spends $1.5 million on his body a year. And like, it sounds crazy, but also he's
That's-
in his
that
20th
makes
year
sense.
of playing, which
Yeah.
like
Right.
in sports is unheard of. So it's the type of thing where it's like you have to really invest in the taking care of your body so that you can do this thing for a long time. You have to warm up every show.
Yep.
It's not like, oh, I can just do it cold.
Right.
That will hurt your
There's
voice.
no way.
That's not something that's
And
sustainable.
your body.
Right.
And your body. So it's really the full, like, all of the warm-ups, the massage gunning, the, whatever you need to.
And I think
we
it's
do all of it.
important to get to know your instrument. Like
Yeah.
your body is literally your livelihood.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you think about it like in those terms, then you will kind of take care of yourself differently.
Right.
You start to learn, especially the more experience you have, you start to learn about, okay, what am I capable of when when I've had 5 hours of sleep? What am I capable of when I have only had a glass of water today?
Right.
Just you start to really learn. You're so in tune with your body. I'm not joking. It's like kind of
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah,
I can feel a
truly.
cold coming
Yep.
on when
Yeah.
the first little
Inkling.
inkling. I feel
Yeah.
it. I know. I'm
And
like,
then
I'm
2
getting a
days
cold.
later, you're like, I'm sick.
I'm then you're sick.
I
You
knew
can
it.
feel it. You
Yeah.
get so in tune with your body. I can tell when, my ankle, if I'm not careful in these shoes, I'm gonna roll my ankle.
Right.
Just
Yeah.
things like that. You just start to kind of anticipate things, and it's so it's just it's an investment into your livelihood. So investing into your body by eating well, and it's just to keep yourself healthy. It's all it
Absolutely.
is, because when you miss work, you're missing money.
Right.
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 And you're missing opportunities. So you really have to keep yourself really healthy.
Truly.
Can you guys go backwards and tell us a little bit about the audition process for Hamilton? I mean, I think it's a pretty standard process, but can you tell us about the process and what was it like for each of you individually? And yeah, I'd love for us, because we do have musical theater people watching, and for them, maybe they've never been through an audition for a Broadway show
Sure.
or for a touring show. And so, if you could just kind of tell us what's that process like, and what was it like for you?
My process was a little different, I think. I had just moved to New York, and they were looking for an immediate replacement for a standby. So I started as a standby in the company.
Can you explain what that is?
Yes, a standby is an offstage cover for principal roles. Different from an understudy, which is normally on stage and also covers maybe ensemble roles. But a standby is specifically offstage, and they cover principal roles exclusively. So when I first joined, I covered Hamilton, Burr, Washington, and Lafayette Jefferson. And so my audition process, they were like, we need somebody like pretty much immediately. So my first audition was like end of January, and
And what year are we in?
this is 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, 2018, top of the year. And it was like the third week of January, something like that. And I went in on a Wednesday, Thursday. It's been a couple years now, so the day is fuzzy. But Wednesday, Thursday, towards the end of the week. And they had me sing from the show. So sometimes they'll have you sing, 16 bars of your own material.
Right.
And if they like you, they'll move you on. But my agent was able to get me like an agent call, essentially. So they were like, learn these 3 Hamilton songs, these 3 Burr songs, and these 3 Washington songs.
So you had to learn 9 songs.
Pretty much.
Was
yeah.
it like
Not-
16
and it's
bars,
not
32
entirety,
bars?
But
Like,
more than 32 bars. Sometimes it was like the entire end part of my shot, right?
and how long did you have? Like, when did you get the material, and when did you have the audition?
So I had the audition. So I got the email for the audition with all the material in it, maybe that Monday or Tuesday, and then I had the audition on Thursday. I think they expect, because Hamilton is Hamilton, that you
Oh,
know
yeah.
most lyrics, and I did. I did know. It's funny. I never thought I would play Hamilton, so that was the material I was least familiar with.
Okay.
I loved Burr as a character, so I knew most of his stuff. I loved Washington because Chris Jackson played Washington. He was in The Heights. That's my favorite show of all time. So like I kind of knew his material as well. But I didn't know Hamilton stuff, so I was really drilling that stuff. And so I got to the audition, did that, did all
what
the
was your
material.
process? I'm going to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, please, yes.
What was your process like to learn that material? Because, I mean, knowing the songs, okay, yeah. I guess because you come in with a lot of experience, right?
Sure.
And what we didn't really talk about was what you were doing before that. So what were you doing
So
just before that?
I had just done How the Grinch Stole Christmas at the Old Globe, and I had finished up about 5 years of working in San Diego.
Okay.
And I had like, let's try New York. 'cause
So this
I'm
was like
still young.
first time adventure, well, the Globe.
Yeah.
And then And now you're doing this.
And now, yeah.
Okay.
now I'm doing this.
So this was a very fast jump. All right.
This is my first like big
Yeah.
show. This is my ragtime essentially.
Yeah.
And so
Wow,
yeah,
way to
it
just jump right in there.
It was quite the. I mean, talk about like the anxiety and pressure that comes with it, right? And talk about the like, am I good enough? Does
Imposter
this even?
syndrome.
Yeah, the imposter syndrome is real, especially on a show like Ragtime. It's
Right.
massive, especially on a show that like Hamilton.
Right.
You're like, people have been listening to the recording. They know every word.
They know it.
I have to do it perfectly.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a wild undertaking. But yeah, so I had done a lot of stuff in San Diego up until that point, and worked with a lot of amazing actors, and was like, let me try New York. And this was my second audition in New York. My first was for a production of Sister Act at the Westchester Broadway Theater that I ended up booking on the same day that I booked Hamilton.
Oh, and you're like, sorry.
So I was like, sorry, y'all, I gotta
I
go
gotta
on
do the
tour,
Hamilton
but-
thing.
But yeah, so I had my first audition. They were like, great, we want you to come back on Tuesday. I said, cool. Tuesday morning, I came
And
back.
what was your process like preparing all of that music?
So they gave me the first couple songs, right? And
did you have to dance?
No.
Not yet. Okay.
Thankfully, I didn't.
Yeah.
So they gave me those songs, and I really just like drilled it. I was just spend all my time listening to it. I broke down the intentions of each line and figured out inflections and what I could do like differently from Lynn and how I saw it. Not just like, I didn't want to just be a carbon copy.
Right.
I wanted to put my own intention and be like, how do I view this lyric? How does this work? It's hard because Lynn was so in my head because
Right.
I was such a Hamill fan before I booked it. Such a Hamill fan. Literally everyone, when I booked it, they're like, oh, this makes sense. You talked about it nonstop. I'm like, well, okay, whatever. And so it was really trying to like get it in my head, but also get my version in my head. And so, yeah, that was the lead up. Right before I had started auditioning for this, I had a friend who had told me one of his techniques of auditioning was that he would take his phone in and put a recorder on and then put it in the corner to record the audition. And I was like, that's really brilliant, because I black out. The second I get an audition, I do all the material, I leave. People are like, how was it? I'm like, I don't know, actually. Like, it's all gone, So I would record it. And so I sang all the material. They said they want to see me Tuesday. I went home. I took the subway home, put my headphones in. I listened to my audition and listened to all the feedback they gave. And like they're like, okay, focus more on this part. I was like, great. So I was like, feverishly like marking things and changing things and figuring that out. For the next audition on the Tuesday, they added more stuff. So it was the 9 songs. Then they added like 2 or 3 more songs for each person. So it's,
Wow.
by the time you book the show, you know the entire show.
Right.
Essentially. Like,
Oh my
you know every
gosh,
song.
yeah.
So I did that. So they you start moving your way up. So you audition for the casting director. Tuesday morning, I came back. I auditioned for the associate director on Broadway and the associate music supervisor on Broadway.
Okay.
They were like, great. I sang all my material for them. They said, great, we want you to come back tonight and do it for Alex Lacamoire. If you don't know who Alex Lacamoire is, he's the orchestrator of the show.
Right.
So an orchestrator takes what Lynn's vision was that he played on piano and turns it into all the instruments you hear on the
And the
recording.
harmonies.
And all the harmonies and the flute, or not flute. I think that's the only thing that's not
'Cause I
in the
said-
show. You said flute and it threw me off. Like violin, viola, cello, banjo, everything you hear on
Right.
that comes from Black's head. And he had also just won a Grammy for Dear Evan Hansen the night before. So I
Right,
was,
you're like,
and
cool.
this is like my 3rd week in New York, and I was like, oh Lord, okay,
Oh,
sweating. Tony Award winning Alex Lacamoire is gonna listen to me tonight. So I came back, performed for him. He was like, great. Then they're like, we want you to come back tomorrow morning for a dance call. And I was like, and here is where I get cut. Because I am
That's
not
me.
a dancer at
Yeah.
all. And they saw the panic on my face. It's like, it's a movement call. It's okay. Principals don't really dance. And I was like, okay, thanks so much. So I come back the next day. I do the dance call with the movement call with the Broadway dance captain at the time, Eliza. And they were like, great, we want you to come back Thursday morning for a final callback with Tommy Kail,
Wow.
who is the director. Tony Award-winning director. And so I was like, okay, cool. At 10:30 a.m., they want me to be there at 10:30.
Don't
so I was
you
like,
love that? You're like, I
cool,
love
okay,
singing
I'll
at
just get up
10:30.
at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
to make sure that I don't miss any trains and I warm up and do all that stuff, So I get there, sang all the material I had been singing for the past couple days, talked with him, afterwards. They're like, great, you'll hear from us. And I was like, okay.
Yep.
You never know what that means in this
Right,
business.
right.
Either we'll hear from them or you'll never hear from
Right.
them, They called me a couple hours later when I was
Wow.
taking a nap.
Nice.
Because I had not slept the entire week because I was like so stressed about the auditions. I had not slept. So they called me and I was like fully sleeping. They're like, hey, is this Edjo? I'm like, yeah, hi, yeah, it's me. Like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm good. How are you? They're like, we're good too. I feel like you're gonna be better because we want you to come on tour with us. I was like, okay, cool, yeah. And then I like rubbed my eyes and like woke up and I was like, that was a dream. That was 100% a dream. It was false. So I called my agent. I was like, did I book Hamilton? They're like, you did book Hamilton. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, thank you so much. And I like called my family. And
That's so great.
it was like a whole thing. So that was it was 5 auditions in the span of 4 days over the course of 2 weeks, which is, I think, very different from what you would do.
Everybody is so
A lot of
different.
people are like, I auditioned for 6 months. Like, it's a wide range.
Right.
But they were looking for me. Like, I booked it on Thursday and started rehearsals that Monday. So it was a very quick thing. Yeah.
All right, Stephanie.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
Because it's different.
Yeah, I'm
We
sure.
have completely different stories. Okay.
We got to do it like a
Really quickly,
abbreviated.
truncated.
I mean, like you got
Yeah.
a couple minutes,
Okay.
but like
I took
I
too
can
much
do
time.
this.
I'm
No,
sorry.
that's okay.
please.
I
I tried to keep
That
it short.
was
I tried to keep
I
it
really
short.
wanted to know about the process.
Yeah, I did too. I never heard
Yeah,
that
yeah,
story.
no, that's great.
So I was on tour with Into the Woods, playing
Okay.
The Witch at the time, and we were in San Francisco at the same time. This tour, Angelica tour, was opening in San Francisco at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And so, okay, this goes back a little bit about the elements and taking care of yourself and,
Right.
and how you can sustain injuries. I was doing The Witch while I was on stage doing her rap. While I was rapping, I sustained a vocal injury. So I vocally hemorrhaged. And it had nothing to do with anything other than probably tired, dehydrated, and whatever it is. So, but I didn't know that's what had happened. I was just losing my voice actively on stage, so I kept calling out of the show. At that same time, Hamilton, for the first time, called me in. They hear you're in San Francisco, so they want to see you
Oh, wow.
while you're there.
So they just call you. Well,
They-
that's- yep.
My agents called me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, because I don't have a voice right now. Of
Yeah,
course.
of course this
Of
is time.
course. So I was like, but I gotta do it because I gotta do it. I don't
Right.
wanna like
Yeah.
miss this opportunity potentially. So I got on steroids
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, for our associate.
Vocal steroids.
Vocal
Yeah, yeah.
steroids.
Okay, not just,
Yeah,
just
no,
for
no, no,
people
no,
watching,
not
it
like,
wasn't
not to pump iron.
Yeah, she wasn't trying to get buff.
Vocal steroids. And, you know, the associate director on Broadway who was in town, I auditioned for him and met him for the first time. His name's Patrick Vassell. And I didn't apologize. I'm just kind of at the point in my life where
Yeah,
it is what
it is,
is.
yeah.
I'm just going to focus on telling the story. I'll sound how I sound, and that'll be that. Auditioned, and he was like, great. And then he was like, we're going to see you in a few days back in again. And I was just like, I'm not even in my own show right now. I need to rest vocally, but I can't. And the doctor was like, strict vocal rest. But I was like, okay, you will
You're
see
like,
about
right,
that.
uh-huh.
Sorry. So we did it again. Anyway, didn't, they were like, we'll let you finish the tour. We'll see you when you get back in New York. Went back to New York, totally healed. Everything was fine. And it was for Tommy Kail, director, and Alex Lackamore. Totally bombed. It was one of the worst auditions I'd given. I think I put too much pressure on it. I was like, I'm going to really show them now.
Oh, God, yeah.
And didn't. It was just like not connected. It wasn't right. It was for the Philip tour. They were just about
when they just opened up.
they were about to
Yeah.
open, and I didn't get it. So I was like, whatever. I'm done with musicals. So I was focusing on plays. Then the next year did all plays, and then I was doing a play off Broadway, and I remember painting my kitchen, my dining room at the time. I was like painting it, and I get a call from my agents, and they were like, oh, sorry, I had auditioned again. Sorry, I forgot to say this. They called me back like a year later because they were now focusing on Angelica tour,
Right.
replacing people. And so I went in again, and it was amazing. I mean, I think it was better than
Yeah.
the last time. And then a few days later is when I found out that they wanted me to do it. But the thing is I'd given up musicals. 'Cause
Right.
I was supposed to go I also got an offer to do Titania in Midsummer Night's Dream in Chicago Shakespeare. So I was just like, this is what I'm doing now. I'm not singing anymore. I don't really want to.
You told your agent that?
Yeah. And then so when I was painting my living room and they were like, you got Angelica, and I was like,
I guess.
guess
so.
so.
no, I don't want people to think that, but it was
No.
only because in my head I resigned.
Yeah.
I was
Right.
like, I'm doing plays, I want to like focus on acting. Anyway, long story short, chose Hamilton.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the obvious choice.
Well, yeah. And I
And
think
here
that
I
we
am.
have those moments too where it's like, we have to, and first of all, like even if you are super talented, that doesn't mean that it's your path, right? So having those moments of reflection where we have to really make that choice
Mm-hmm.
of getting, and deciding like, do I want to do this? Because for you, it was like, I was at the top of literally doing Into the Woods, and I'm on stage, and you felt like you weren't able to really, get there, like that you were, damaging your own vocals, and you're worried about that. So of course, to think, I think I'm going to focus on something else. And I think we all have to make that choice, whether it's something small, like, I mean, these kids here for Broadway Bound Live, for example, they are, they're literally in limbo right now in an audition process that's been going on for like months. And they're, at the end of it, 4 of them will have to move their whole lives and change everything, and that's what it is, like, it's not like, you're just like, oh, I decided not to do a thing or decided to do a thing. It's like, this is a major life decision. And so it makes sense to take the time to pause and say, am I ready to really commit to everything that this entails? All right, so we have about 1 minute.
Okay.
So, what advice or words of encouragement would you give to anyone pursuing this as a career right now that's trying to get started or is in the middle of a process or whatever?
Should we look into the...
Absolutely. I mean, in theory.
give the advice?
I would say this industry is going to try to tell you who you are. By saying, this is the type you are, this is what the role is good for you, and it's easy to start believing that that is actually who you are as well. So I would highly advise you to get on that path of figuring out who you are, sticking to that person, because there's a lot of outside influences, so the more you know who you are, the stronger of a performer you'll be.
And I will keep mine to one line. It's the line that got me through everything because I started late. It's hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
And with that, that is all the time we have for today. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's time for
A New Agenda!